Today we are going to discuss about difference between primitive subsistence farming and intensive subsistence farming. Agriculture is an old economic activities, mainly primary economic activities. In India, there are different types of economic activities, mainly primary economic activities. Farming is one of the most important economic activities. In India, here different types of farming also practiced by farmer, like commercial farming, intensive farming, mixed farming, etc. But today we are going to discuss about what is the meaning of primitive subsistence farming and intensive subsistence farming, and what is the difference between primitive subsistence farming and intensive subsistence farming. At first, what is the meaning of subsistence farming? Subsistence farming means when farmer produce crops for their own domestic purpose, not for selling purpose or not for commercial purpose. This is the meaning of subsistence farming. Intensive farming means when farming is practiced where high population pressures of land, small patches of land, farmer farming in this type of land with help of use of manure, use of fertilizers, etc. Yes, primitive subsistence farming, one of the oldest farming pattern, mainly in India and some another countries farmer also practice this type of farming. This farming also known as slash and burn farming or jhum cultivation in northeastern part of India. Some primitive ways also be introduced, or some primitive ways also uh, practice for this type of cultivation, and some tribal area also practice this type of farming method. Primitive subsistence farming, here farmers grows or produce product mainly their own consuming purpose. In India, northeastern part of India like Assam, Meghalaya, Manipur, Mizoram, in this region, this type of farming also known as jhum cultivation or shifting cultivation, because there farmers cultivate in a small patches of land only, just not only for 1 year. After cultivation they shift from one place to another, and they also generate new cultivated land in another place. It is one of the main causes of deforestation also. But this type of farming, farmers do not use different type of manures or fertilizer, etc. After naturally uh, land or cultivated land become less fertile, then farmers shifted from one place to another. Another is intensive subsistence farming. Intensive subsistence farming mainly practiced in India and south eastern part of Asian country like Bangladesh, Pakistan, Myanmar, Sri Lanka, Indonesia, etc. This type of farming mainly practice where huge population pressure on the land. Population density is very high, but land are not very available. In these positions, in these situations, intensive subsistence farming practice. What is the main features of intensive subsistence farming? Main features of intensive subsistence farming: agricultural land or patches is small, manure and different type of fertilizer are utilized by farmer for more and more production, and manually works done by farmers. Different type of modern modern agricultural inputs do not use them. They do not use different type of modern agricultural inputs like harvester, tractor, power tiller, etc. Uh, in this farming, production is high, but per head production is very low. Yes, and now we are coming main point of this part, mainly primitive subsistence farming and intensive subsistence farming. What is the major differences? Difference between primitive subsistence farming and intensive subsistence farming. One of the most important questions. Primitive subsistence farming and intensive subsistence farming. Number one. Primitive subsistence farming, it is practiced on small patches of land. Actually, primitive subsistence farming practice in small patches of land. In these situations, land are not very large like commercial farming. Small patches of land. And intensive subsistence farming, it is practiced in areas of high population pressure of land. Here also small patches of land, but here population pressure is very high. So, second is production is low as the farmers do not use fertilizer or other modern inputs. In this situations, farmers do not use modern inputs. They use different type of old equipment like hoe, dao, different type of digging sticks, etc. But they do not also use different type of manures, fertilizers, etc. After loss of fertility of land naturally, they shifted from one place to another. They make new patches of land and start farming. Second is farmer use high doses of biochemical inputs and irrigation to obtain higher production. Intensive subsistence farming, mainly farmers use high doses of biochemical inputs, irrigation and obtain higher productions like DAP, urea, potash, etc. Pesticide, insecticides also used in this type of farming. Last and next is, it is also known as slash and burn cultivation. For example, jhum cultivation. Uh, Primitive subsistence farming also known as slash and burn cultivation. But intensive subsistence farming are not farmers cultivate in a same land for long time. They do not shift from one place to another because population pressure is very high and patches is very small, and they have not sufficient land resources or farming land. In this purpose, farmers do not shift from one place to another. So this was the major differences between primitive subsistence farming and intensive subsistence farming. I think you have got sufficient knowledge about it. So thank you.